Welcome inside of Education Matters. My name is Donna Moore Westby, your host of Education Matters, where we're connecting you to the world of education one step at a time. I think you might need to hook on your seatbelts today because we'll be on for a very good ride. Why? Well, October is Let's Talk Month, and today in the studio with me are two ladies who will help us talk about that three-letter word. S-E-X, sex. Have you had that conversation about the birds and the bees with your middle or high school student? If you have not, we want you to stay tuned to today's broadcast because seriously, we do need to have a conversation with our young people. Wouldn't you rather they hear the facts from you than to get the dirt from the streets? You're going to want to keep it locked right here inside of ASTV today. Here in the studio with me are representatives from Aiken Youth Empowerment, a wonderful organization providing extremely valuable services to you in our community, okay? We want to definitely thank the sponsors of Education Matters, and I like to call them my partners. Not partners in crime, but partners in education. And these are corporations and businesses that I sure hope you will go out and support. And they are the Martial Arts Academy under the direction of Mr. Andrew Blocker. Good to see you, Mr. Blocker. I know you're watching. Also, Westby's Products and Services, creator of Don's Seasoning Delight, all-purpose seasoning and marinade. We're coming up to the holidays, so you're going to want to go ahead and get that Don's Delight and inject those turkeys. You'll never go back to baked. But anyway, make sure you look for their commercial at the bottom of the hour in today's broadcast. Also like to thank Magnolia Medical Center. Dr. Margot Muniz is my doctor, and I sure hope you'll give her a try. And her practice specializes in total women's health care. So hopefully you'll give her a call. Also, the Will Lou Gray Opportunity School out of West Columbia, South Carolina, changing lives for our youth in South Carolina every day. And then the Barner Group Educational Associates. It's free supplemental educational services time. The deadline is approaching, and the Barner Group Educational Associates is just one of the many providers of supplemental educational services. So you're going to want to give them a call. And then we just certainly thank all of you for providing your support of Education Matters. Want to also give shouts out to a brand new sponsor to Education Matters, and that is Ms. Takia Bryant of Bryant Allstate Insurance Agency. Very soon you will see her commercial, but thanks to all of you for being my partners in the world of education. All right, have just a couple of reminders to share with you. A free tutoring deadline is approaching, okay? We'll bring out our trusty chalkboard for you. Make sure you have your paper and pencil and jot down these announcements, okay? As we've discussed here inside of Education Matters, if your child attends a Title I school that has 50% or more of its students on free or reduced lunch, and that school has not met AYP consecutively in 2 to 3 years, then you may qualify for free after-school tutoring through supplemental educational services. Now, the deadline to apply is rapidly approaching, November the 11th. For more information, contact your child's school, okay? Please, don't let these opportunities pass you by to get help for your child, all right? Next, if you are in Aiken County, I know there are some districts that have something similar, but here in Aiken County, we have a computerized system called Parent Portal, okay? Hopefully you are familiar with this system, but this is a computerized system where you as a parent can get a unique user ID and password to access your child's grades and their daily attendance records, all right? You can go right to that computer and see if your child was late or attending school the way they should be attending school, okay? To get that password, make sure you contact your child's guidance department. Now, if you're in other districts watching right now, just contact your school to see if your school has something similar, okay? It's an excellent resource, and we sure hope you take advantage of the service. All right. Okay, if you're like me and you have a child that's in high school with the desires of going to college, well, pretty soon you're going to need to go ahead and complete the FAFSA. That stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid, all right? All students interested in financial aid for college will need to complete this form. Now, if this child is a minor, definitely I know this, then you as the parent or guardian will need to supply your income information. So this is a process you all will need to complete together. Very important process to see if your child will qualify for some federal financial aid, all right? So make sure you either contact your school guidance department for additional information or access the internet and just type in FAFSA, F-A-F-S-A, okay? All right. Now, I have one other announcement that's not on our chalkboard, but just as a reminder, there will be a parent resource fair sponsored by Aiken County's Department of Special Programs. If you have a special needs child, or if your child has any type of disability, whether it's a learning disability or physical disability, then you're going to want to attend parent resource fairs that will start on October the 29th, and there will also be another fair in 2012. For more information on that, as well as all of these announcements, go to my website, and that is www.edmatt.com. That's EDMATT.com, okay? Very good. It is now time for the Education Matters Tip of the Week. Every week we do provide you a new tip, and here is this week's tip. I love this tip. Now, there is a reason, ladies, that it's called baby talk. It's how babies are supposed to sound, not adults, okay? Resist the temptation to speak baby talk to your newborn or infant. Why, you ask? Well, they're going to imitate exactly what they hear. Oftentimes, when you find adults who have speech impediments, it's because of the baby talk that was communicated to them for a very long time. You don't want to do that. Start now speaking in full sentences and in regular speech patterns, okay? That is this week's tip of the week. All right. That sound means that it is Word of the Week time. Word of the Week time. Every week inside of Education Matters, we do provide you a brand new Word of the Week so that we can all learn and grow together, and hopefully you are sharing these words with your young person because they will see them again on the SAT, ACT, and in their classrooms. So this week's Word of the Week is galvanize. Galvanize, and you see it there on the screen for you. Galvanize. Galvanize is a verb, and it means to seize and hold as the power, position, or rights of another by force and without legal right or authority. It can also mean to take over or occupy physically as territory or possessions, to seize, okay? Here is your sentence for this week. The murders of 3 children galvanized, and I'm using past tense of the word, the neighborhood to implement a neighborhood watch program, okay? That is this week's Word of the Week. Practice it. Place it on your refrigerator. Make sure you utilize this word, add it to your vocabulary so that we can all learn and grow together. All right? Just before I bring on my guests, want to give shouts out to my family. We have lots of birthdays in our family, all about the same time. Happy birthday to my sister on October 16th. She celebrated a birthday. Her daughter Charity on October 23rd turned 12. And then my husband, Mr. Don Wesby, will turn, I won't say it. He has a birthday on October 29th. So happy birthday to you, honey. And thanks to my family for your support. All right. I know we covered a lot, but now it's time to share some additional information that I pray will help you and your family today. Have you ever thought about how you learned about sex? Was it a good experience for you? Maybe it was traumatic. Well, one of the methods of communicating sex to your middle or high school student is to just tackle it head on. But I want you to know there are resources available to help you have these conversations. If you don't talk to your young person about sex, they will find out about it in some way. And hopefully, with the information we share today, you'll see why it's so vital that we talk. Here in the studio with me are my patient guests. I had a lot to cover today. It's Miss Susan Meehan. She is the Executive Director of Aiken Youth Empowerment, and also Miss Sandra Thomas, and also represents the wonderful organization. Welcome to Education Matters.
Thank you.
Well, this is a very sensitive subject, and you deal with it every day. I want to first of all show the very first slide because it gives our viewers your website. I want them to go ahead and jot down this website. It's a beautiful logo, by the way. How did you all come up with that? Because you had a new name. It used to be what?
Aiken Teen Pregnancy Prevention.
Aiken Teen Pregnancy Prevention. And now you've got this beautiful new logo and new direction. Why did you feel the need to change?
A lot of it had to do with the fact that, when you say Aiken Teen Pregnancy Prevention, a lot of times you get the, oh, I'm sorry, instead of Aiken Youth Empowerment, which is really what we're trying to do, is to empower our young people to make healthy decisions.
And empower them with knowledge and education.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And so we decided we also weren't just solely focused on teen pregnancy prevention. We're looking at some of the root causes, which we'll talk about, as to what makes a child become sexually active at an early age or make risky decisions.
Right.
And
right.
so we really looked at wanting something more positive and something to be able to expand out and really do some youth development too, in addition to focusing on teen pregnancy prevention.
That's great. Ms. Thomas, what's your role with Aiken Youth Empowerment?
I am the Real Talk for Youth Coordinator.
Real talk. I like that.
Real talk, and that's what we do. We talk real. But actually, I go into the communities, into the schools, churches if they would have us, and we just educate about topics from puberty to sex to good touch, bad touch,
Right.
self-esteem, body image. So we cover an array of subjects.
I want to lay some groundwork here. James, if you will, October is Let's Talk Month. I didn't know that, but I'm so glad that it is such a designation because many families are missing out on opportunities to have healthy conversations with their children and grandchildren, for those who are raising grandchildren. And so this is a very important month. Let's lay down some ground rules or some foundational information. You all recently took a survey, and the results of this survey were given, or the survey itself was given to youth clients utilizing the services at the Aiken County Health Department. Let's go to the very first question, and I'm setting the tone here of why we need to have these healthy discussions in your own homes. Let's look at the first question. How old were you when you had sex for the first time? Miss Susan, walk us through this.
Well, the youth coming into the health department, it's been over a 5-year period of time that we've been doing this survey, and we actually started changing some of the ways that we target what we do because of it. And when we started looking at, and it follows a lot of national data, that youth between the ages of 14 to 17 years old, almost 75%, have had sex for the first time somewhere between the ages of 14 and 17.
My
And
goodness.
44%, between the ages of 14 and 15. So we're looking at high school as being the first times that they're, thinking about or having sex for the first time.
That is startling. That
And
is startling.
It is, and we have many parents who feel that their child wouldn't be thinking about it, but they also are adolescents, and so it's a constant thought for them.
Right. All right, let's move to the next one. How would you feel if your pregnancy test, now, I'm just trying to set the tone here to give us some data as we continue our discussion. How would you feel if your pregnancy test was positive? Now, this blew my mind. Ms. Thomas, help us understand this. Why it seems as if some of our young people would actually be happy about this.
Exactly, and actually think their parents are happy about it.
Mm.
That's the part that really surprises us. Ages 14 to 18, over 50% of the kids said their parents would be happy. But they're unsure as to whether their parents will be happy or not.
Mm-hmm.
My thought is 15 to 18 years old, a parent is not happy to hear that their teenager is pregnant.
And what it's also doing is it's underscoring the whole point of this broadcast is that not enough parents are having the conversation with their children. Oh, my son, he already knows, all of our children, how my husband and I felt about them having sex before marriage,
Yes.
and also if they were to have it and then become pregnant. Now I'm going to tell you a story about why it's difficult for me to say that word. Let's move on to the next slide. Ms. Meehan, how would your parents feel if your pregnancy test was positive? Talk us through that one.
So we show this slide a lot to parents because if you look at the number of unsures, when we start showing that, and you look at the number of unsures and you look at the number of happies, when I show that to parents, the basic thing is that there's a lot of youth that don't know how their parents would feel. And if there are that many youth that don't know how their parents would feel, then there are no conversations happening.
That's right.
And so you get youth who, at 14 and 15-year-olds, have like fantasy thinking, oh, I could be a parent because I babysit. And, oh, they're so cute and they're so sweet, and not quite have the grasp of the reality of a parent. And then conversations potentially not happening at home about what it would mean to be pregnant, what it would mean to be pregnant,
Mhm.
parent. What does that do to your future, those types of things, because they think they can.
Right. When I was younger, to just show you, I know some of it is generational in terms of having this kind of conversation and not. When I was younger, and I'll be 42 in November, I know you're watching, Mom. I love you. But there was not much conversation as my sister and I were growing up about the subject.
Mm-hmm.
What worked well for us is that we both read a lot. So we were able to understand the physical aspects of sex just from what the book stated. But that was all that we knew. That was our limited knowledge. I can remember an incident before we go to a break. When I was about 9 years old, I was outside playing, and a little boy came up to me, and he asked me if I wanted to have sex. Now, he used another word, but I can't, this is a family show. But I didn't know what it meant. But something, thank God, inside of me told me to run. And I ran away. I ran in the house, and I was able to get away from him. And of course, later on, I learned what that actually meant. But there are some risks that parents end up taking when they don't have the conversation with their children. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk about those risks in just a minute. Stay tuned. Don't change that dial. Let's talk about sex. It doesn't have to be a scary topic. Aiken Youth Empowerment has some resources to help you start that conversation. You're inside of Education Matters. We'll be right back.
Need positive and constructive after-school activities for your children? Call the Martial Arts Academy in Aiken under the direction of International Olympic trainer Andrew Blocker. The Martial Arts Academy offers an award-winning approach to teaching Taekwondo. It's an effective approach to instilling discipline. The Martial Arts Academy also offers self-defense and fitness classes for all ages. Enroll today in this affordable program by calling 803-642-5723 or visit the studio at 2398 Whiskey Road in Aiken. The Martial Arts Academy, positively changing the lives of youth and adults.
Total Women's Healthcare means treating the women physically, emotionally, and everything in between. At Magnolia Medical Women's Center, we treat and diagnose common and unusual medical problems related to female health. Magnolia Medical Center is a premium high-level obstetrics and gynecology clinic for women of all ages. Our clients receive the time they deserve without feeling rushed and unimportant. We are located in the Aiken Medical Center, 410 University Parkway in Aiken, Suite 2300. Call us today at 803-649-6366.
The Will Lou Gray Opportunity School has been serving the beautiful Midlands of South Carolina since 1921. Our mission has evolved over the years, and we now specialize in helping young people move past their obstacles in order to achieve success. We give students opportunities to lead, to develop social skills, to become active in their communities, and to taste success. Don't settle for less than the absolute best for your life. Contact us today to take the next step in your journey toward success.
Did you know over half of today's marriages end in divorce? Why is that? We'll explore that question and also discuss proactive methods to help that from happening with my guest, Mr. Roger Rollins from the Family and Marriage Coalition of Aiken, next time on Education Matters, right here on ASTV, Channel 95.
Does your child or grandchild need help in reading or math, or can benefit from preparatory coursework for the HSAP, ACT, or SAT? If so, contact the Barner Group Educational Associates. Our staff specializes in formatting an individualized approach to assisting your child academically. We offer low-cost tutorial services and educational programs. Participants may qualify for free services. To learn more, call for Alicia Cuthbertson of the Barner Group Educational Associates, 1-888-TBG-3996.
When it comes to grilling, I'm the man. Using Dawn seasoning delight, I'm the grill master.
My seasoning is available at Kroger, Bilo, Food Line, Reeds, and Harvest. Look for it on display in the meat department. Also visit seasoningdelight.com for information and recipes. Dawn Seasoning Delight. It's so good.
Dawn Seasoning Delight is so good.
Welcome back inside of Education Matters. My name is Donna Moore Westby, your host, and we're connecting you to the world of education one step at a time. And today's step, we're trying to enlighten you as a parent or a grandparent on how to have the conversation about sex and the whole change in body and development with your young person. Here in the studio with me today is Ms. Susan Meehan, the Executive Director of Aiken Youth Empowerment, and also one of the organizers within Aiken Youth Empowerment, Ms. Sandra Thomas, and we'll hear more about the department that she heads in just a moment. Let's get back into our discussion. There are some risks that parents take when they don't have the conversations with their children. Tell us about that.
Well, the difference, we were talking right before the break about how our parents had a conversation with us or lack of.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, you know, my parents handed me a book and sort of ran away as well. So the conversation didn't really happen, but I didn't have as much access to information
Mm-hmm.
as children have today.
Yes.
With access to internet, the TV programs that are on, and then the information that their friends have. So
Mhm.
even though you think that you're protecting them by not sharing information, and or thinking that they're too young, their friends have a lot of information,
Mm-hmm.
not always accurate, and that's where they're getting some of their answers from. And so when you limit those discussions, or you're afraid to talk about it, it really makes a difference because your child will seek out that information somewhere else.
They will definitely seek it out. What's, from the Aiken Youth Empowerment standpoint, what's a recommended age to have the conversations, not only about sex, but as you mentioned during our break, just about puberty and the changes in their body?
Generally, as children ask questions, there's age-appropriate ways to answer it, starting at toddler ages when they were just asking about body parts, but especially around 3rd and 4th grade when they're starting to, their bodies are changing and they're hitting puberty at younger ages nowadays. But as their bodies are changing, to get them to talk about it and be excited about it.
Yeah.
The more you can have, what's going to happen to me, and answer those types of questions, the more likely they are to come to you and ask additional questions instead of going to a friend or somebody else or looking it up on potentially not a great place to look something up on to find out an answer.
That's right. Things are, I don't know about you, Miss Sandra, but things were just so much different for me growing up. We could play outside, you could run around with the boys and girls, and there was just no worry about a lot of the things that nowadays our young people are exposed to. And then the thing about it is, sex is glamorized in every way. I mean, and I've said it on this program before, just selling shampoo.
Oh,
Everything.
Yeah. Now you deal directly with a lot of our youth.
Yes.
What types of information, misinformation, do these young people have that is causing them to fall into some of these traps, such as teen pregnancy?
Well, one of the things is they're getting educated through their peers. And of course, it won't happen to me. And a lot of kids think it's not going to happen to me. And getting on the internet, Facebook sells sex anymore. I mean, like you said, everything is selling it now. And so the information of, pregnancy is not the worst thing that can happen to me. Well, no, pregnancy is not the worst thing that can happen to you. When we grew up, pregnancy was the worst thing that could happen to us.
As a matter of fact, I couldn't even say the word pregnant, and it's very difficult for me to even say it now. I might would say, oh, she's expecting, or she's going to have a baby, but it was just taboo.
It was taboo, and that's what I tell parents a lot. It's a taboo conversation, but you have people that's available to talk about that uncomfortable situation. And for parents, I would like to say, stop talking at your children and talk to your children. Again, when we were growing up, you better not get pregnant. You better not bring no baby here.
Right.
I'm too young to be a grandmother.
Yes.
Keep your dress down and your pants up. You didn't talk to me about pregnancy. You didn't talk directly to me. You just hit that surface.
Yeah.
So of course, what we need to understand is our children are very curious. Our children, I don't know where they come from now. I mean, really, they grown. And so when we tell them not to do something, that makes them want to experiment with it.
That's exactly
So
right.
if we be open and honest with them, then at that time, I would think that if your child got to the point where they wanted to experiment, they would come and they would talk with you.
Do you believe, ladies, that with the access to so much information via the internet and television, etc., that it has helped your cause or hindered your cause? Ms. Nim?
I think there are positives and negatives. I think that the access to information allows us to share a lot more of accurate information and medically accurate information out to adults and to some extent to young people. But I also think that it can be a negative because I think that there's a lot of really inaccurate information. And without monitoring, there are certain ways to put your children at risk. If you're not putting parental passwords on iPods and things like that, when you do a search, the things that can come up are, if you don't have a parental password, there are certain pornography sites that'll come up and kids will click on it out of curiosity.
Right.
And we need to be able to help monitor what our children have access to. It doesn't mean that we have to eliminate it all. We just have to be able to monitor it and then talk about it. I always tell parents to make sure you don't have to lecture your child, but you also want to be a parent that has an opinion. and share how you feel about something.
And I've also found too, I don't know if, are you two ladies parents?
Mhm.
I've also found too, what's helped me to relate to my son is real talk.
Real talk.
Is being real, sharing with him some of my own experiences that no, I was not perfect, that I made some decisions that probably weren't wise, but you know, just being real, because that does then open the door for open communication and allowing them to ask questions that they may not otherwise ask. Let's go ahead and show James the next slide. We have some data specific to teen pregnancy in South Carolina, and we're going to talk about that's another good one too. We have some data specific to teen pregnancy in South Carolina, and we're going to talk about that's another good one too. How much risk do you feel you are for contracting HIV or an STD? This was also a disconnect that shows many of our young people are misinformed and don't understand exactly the risks they're putting themselves in when they have sex.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Exactly. It goes back to the fact that it won't happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how kids think. But, 40% of our youth think it says 40%.
Yes.
40%
yes.
think that none are at risk. I'm not at risk. I'm not at risk. If I have
not gonna happen to
unprotected
me.
sex,
Mhm.
it's not going to happen to me.
That's why information is so
That's
critical.
why it's critical.
Teen pregnancy in South Carolina. 21 teens, help me understand this, Ms. Meehan, ages 15 to 19 give birth every day. That's just in South Carolina?
That's in South Carolina. The good news for that is that a couple years ago it was 56,
Ah,
and so
I gotta read my
overall,
Bible's
that's
book.
right.
Okay.
Overall, South Carolina as a whole has actually decreased over the years in terms of teen births
Okay.
and teen pregnancy. For Aiken County, the difference is that we've experienced slow drops,
Mhm.
but we actually experienced a small increase recently.
Let's go to, James, skip the next slide and go to the very next one that has the bar graphs, the line graph, because I think it depicts exactly what you're saying. That one, Miss Meehan. Let's walk through this real quickly for our viewers today.
Okay, well, the blue line is South Carolina, and you can see how they have actually experienced a decrease in their teen birth rates. The green line would be Aiken County, and that's where we experienced a drop
Pretty
the previous
significant
year,
drop, yeah.
and I believe we went back up to right about where we were 2 years before.
Why is that?
Sometimes I think that there are just anomalies where, for one reason or another during a year, data drops, or teen pregnancies drop. I can't give an actual explanation for it. We've done a lot of targeting of 15 to 17-year-olds with our education, but if I would have continued to see that, then I would have said we have a great trend going. But unfortunately, we went back up, and we know that just from some of the high schools that we've been talking with. There was 2 years ago where there was one high school that had 26 pregnancies, and we know of others that have had more than that during the school year.
Parents, grandparents, can it happen in your family? Sure it can. Do we want it to? Of course we don't. This is one of those topics that you definitely need to have in your home. One of the risks you take by not having the conversation is risking that your teenage daughter or granddaughter could become pregnant. In just a moment, we'll talk about teen mothers. There's something we can do about it, and it all ties to education. Education matters. This is Donna Moore Westby. We'll be right back.
Need positive and constructive after-school activities for your children? Call the Martial Arts Academy in Aiken under the direction of International Olympic trainer Andrew Blocker. The Martial Arts Academy offers an award-winning approach to teaching Taekwondo. It's an effective approach to instilling discipline. The Martial Arts Academy also offers self-defense and fitness classes for all ages. Enroll today in this affordable program by calling 803-642-5723 or visit the studio at 2398 Whiskey Road in Aiken. The Martial Arts Academy, positively changing the lives of youth and adults.
Total women's health care means treating the women physically, emotionally, and everything in between. At Magnolia Medical Women's Center, we treat and diagnose common and unusual medical problems related to female health. Magnolia Medical Center is a premium high-level obstetrics and gynecology clinic for women of all ages. Our clients receive the time they deserve without feeling rushed and unimportant. We are located in the Aiken Medical Center, 410 University Parkway in Aiken, Suite 2300. Call us today at 803-649-6366.
The Will Lou Gray Opportunity School has been serving the beautiful Midlands of South Carolina since 1921. Our mission has evolved over the years, and we now specialize in helping young people move past their obstacles in order to achieve success. We give students opportunities to lead, to develop social skills, to become active in their communities, and to taste success. Don't settle for less than the absolute best for your life. Contact us today to take the next step in your journey toward success.
When it comes to grilling, I'm the man. Using Dawn seasoning and the like, I'm the grill master.
My seasoning is available at Kroger, Buy Low, Food Line, Reeds, and Harvest. Look for it on display in the meat department. Also visit seasoningdelight.com for information and recipes. Dawn Seasoning Delight. It's so good.
Dawn seasoning delight is so good.
Does your child or grandchild need help in reading or math, or can benefit from preparatory coursework for the HSAP, ACT, or SAT? If so, contact the Barner Group Educational Associates. Our staff specializes in formatting an individualized approach to assisting your child academically. We offer low-cost tutorial services and educational programs. Participants may qualify for free services. To learn more, call for Alicia Cuthbertson of the Barner Group Educational Associates, 1-888-TBG-3996.
I lead a busy life, but I still have to make sure my family eats right. And everybody loves Dawn's Seasoning Delight. I use Dawn's on meats and vegetables. It's healthy, tastes great, and it's simple to use. It's like having a chef in a bottle.
My seasoning is available at Kroger, Buy Low, Food Line, Reeds, and Harvest. Look for it on display in the meat department. Also visit seasoningdelight.com for information and recipes. Dawn Seasoning Delight. It's so good.
Welcome back inside of Education Matters. If you're just joining us today inside the broadcast, it's been a powerful one. Here in the studio with me is Miss Susan Meehan, the Executive Director of Aiken Youth Empowerment, and also Miss Sandra Thomas, representing the organization as well. Let's talk about teen mothers. We do have a slide. This is one of the risks our parents are taking when they decide, and it is a conscious decision of whether or not to have this kind of sensitive discussion with their teenage girl, and we're going to talk about the other piece of that in just a minute. James, go ahead and teen mothers. Miss Meehan, let's talk our way through. This is what we're looking at when we have a young lady who becomes a mother.
We're looking at a lot of teen mothers generally their children have more health risks than mothers who give birth over the age of 21. They have higher rates of low birth weight, infant mortality than mothers who give birth in their 20s. They're less likely to finish high school. Only about 40% are going to finish high school. Far less likely also to go on to higher education. And they're more likely to live in poverty and rely on public assistance because they weren't prepared or even thought through the expense of what it would take to raise a child.
The reality is not even there. They have really, and a lot of them, no concept of what it really takes to care for a child. All they know is, oh, the baby looks cute, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But to actually care for a human being, these young people have no concept of. And Ms. Sandra, I know you see it all the time.
I see it all the time, and one of the things that we were saying during the break is we focus on the mother, and we do that a lot. But a third of the young men that are fathers, teen parents, end up in the prison system.
Yes.
A third of our men. And we try to educate the young ladies. We do a lot of that. But
it takes two to tango.
It takes two to tango, and we don't educate the guys as much. We don't. You know, we try to educate male and female in our organization.
That's good. That's excellent. Now, when it comes to educating our young people about all of this stuff, sexually transmitted diseases, becoming pregnant, and all of that, I get the feeling that some of them tend to tune it out, because for them, having a child, particularly on the young lady side, there's a deeper reason behind many of our young girls wanting to bring a life in this world. What are you finding there?
Well, I think, one, we must not be naive to the fact, well, a lot of our young girls are in generational situations.
Mm-hmm.
I have children who grandparents are 45,
Mm-hmm.
parents are 30,
Mm-hmm.
and here it is, I'm 15 and it's my time.
Mm.
You know, we have children who report they want to have a baby because I just want somebody to love me.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I want to fit in. They see the star football player, and the only way I can get with the star football player if I have sex with him.
Mm.
You know, so peer pressure, fitting in, generational, a lot of reasons why our children have babies.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes it is a matter of not having the correct education about how, I can't even tell you how much misinformation the youth that we do educate have related to how one gets pregnant, how one gets an STD, just even related to just how their body works. And some of that has to do with, you know, either, most of the time, it's just lack of education.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a intern once tell me, and she was 19 years old at the time, she was a sophomore at USCA, and during the interview, she said, nobody ever told me I could have twins.
Mm.
And she got pregnant her first year of college because she fell in love,
Mm-hmm.
and for the first time, and she had sex for the first time. And she got pregnant as a result, and she ended up having twins. And she was fortunate because she has extremely supportive parents.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many girls who don't have that kind of support.
That's right. That's right. Well, we're talking here primarily about parents educating their children,
Mm-hmm.
but there are some parents who don't have the conversation because they feel uneducated
Mhm.
and not confident in the information they have. What resources does Aiken Youth Empowerment have that can help parents get through this conversation?
Two things. One is, and I recommend this, I did it with my own children, and I have 2 young children right now. When they ask questions, if it's a question you're not quite comfortable with, then use a book.
Mm-hmm.
There are age-appropriate books that, starting just how to talk to and use the proper terminology for their anatomy, all the way up through when a 9-year-old asks what is sex, and
Mhm.
how do you answer that question. There are wonderful books out there that simplify everything.
Yes.
And parents also feel this strong need to, oh my gosh, I have to tell them everything. No, you have to answer a simple question, and if they answer or ask a follow-up question, then they're ready to hear more.
Mhm.
But if the simplest answer you could find, then that would be great. We've donated books to both Aiken and North Augusta libraries to help parents, and the books that we have, there's a Christian series and a non-Christian series, and the books they have, you can check them out and engage in a conversation, and you can get the list on our website. But and then we also conduct classes. We find that parents want us to give all the facts, the
Mhm.
medically accurate information, and then we encourage parents and talk to parents about how do you put that kind of information into your own family values and moral
Right.
context.
Right.
Because parents, I just did a recent talk with parents, they're like, I don't know any of the STDs, I don't know what they are.
Mhm.
And so we're going back and we're going to do a talk with the youth at this youth group, and I've started to talk with the parents already about how do you take that information now and put it into your own family
And
values.
apply it. Yes, that's good.
And you know, even before just talking about the sex, like we say, talking about the puberty.
Mm-hmm.
In our office, we have.
I like the way you say that, the puberty.
Talk
Like
about
what I'm
puberty.
starting to get into, the menopause.
In our office, we have what we call a puberty backpack.
Mm-hmm.
And we have videos, we have books, And we encourage parents, contact us, sign the backpack out, have a weekend, you know, look at the movie and eat popcorn, make it
Girls'
really
weekend.
comfortable with
Yeah.
your child to talk about puberty. What's your body going through? Why my body feel like this? Why, you know, and they have a lot of questions, but they're afraid to talk with their parents.
Yeah.
And for parents that's afraid to talk with their kids, we're here.
Well, I think the beauty of all of this is that both parties have some level of anxiety.
Oh, yes.
You know, the parent is going to be nervous, the child is going to be nervous, but if you're going through that thing together and kind of keep it light and somewhat informal, then you can kind of loosen up,
Oh, yes.
help each other loosen up in that process. Another point that I want to make, not just in South Carolina, but this really, although the numbers are decreasing, and I'm very excited about that, but teenage pregnancy is about dollars and cents, and it costs our state and our country a tremendous amount of tax dollars. James, we have a slide called South Carolina Taxpayers, and we're making this specific to South Carolina, but I want you to just see what teenage pregnancy is costing us in this state. Ms. Meehan, walk us through this one.
There was a study done at the state level, and basically they found that teen births cost $34 million yearly in public health care, Medicaid, CHIP, $23 million for child welfare, and for children who have reached adolescence. $24 million in increased rates of incarceration and $69 million in lost tax revenue due to decreased earnings and spendings for the state as a whole. When you add all of this up, in 2009, teen births in Aiken County cost Aiken about $5 million.
That is a lot of money. And to me, what it says is it validates the need for this type of organization and just education in general, because it's costing us too much money. What steps do we have in place through Aiken Youth Empowerment and your connection with other organizations within this area to continue to decrease our numbers?
We have a number of programs, which, and I'll let you talk about Girl Circle, but we do go into the schools. We're approved through the cabinet to be a speaker about reproductive health in the school systems, and so when the schools need somebody or they don't have someone trained to be able to do that, we can do that for them. And we have several other programs. One, Girl Circle.
As a matter of fact, we have a video, I believe, that talks about Girl Circle. Am I right? James, go ahead and drop that video, and viewers, we're going to let you see a little bit of what Girl Circle is all about. This is a resource that is available for you. Check it out.
Little girl 14, flipping through a magazine, says she wants to look that way. But her hair isn't straight, her body isn't fake, and she's always felt overweight. Well, little girl 14, I wish that you could see the beauty is within your heart. And you were made with such care, your skin, your body, and your hair are perfect just the way they are. They can never be more beautiful.
So, Ms. Thomas, Girl Circle is your baby.
That's my baby.
Tell us a little bit about how Girl Circle is making a difference.
Girl Circle, I like to think of it as a butterfly. You start out with a caterpillar, turns into a cocoon, and then it blossomed into this beautiful butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go into the classrooms, and you have these young ladies who don't think highly of themselves, who don't think they're beautiful, who don't have any friends, they're very shy.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the 8 and 10 weeks, it's like they're all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, I'm beautiful, you know. And that's why I start the open ritual. You have to say something positive about yourself.
That's
every
right.
time.
That's
You
right.
have to say something positive about yourself. Closing ritual, you have to say positive about someone else in the class. Because, you know, what we're trying to do is build them up.
Mm-hmm.
But not only build you up, but build your peers up also. So our hope in going into the classrooms or going into the schools with Girl Circle is that once we build the young lady up and make them feel good about themselves, then some of the at-risk behavior that they get involved with,
Yes.
they won't get involved with.
And plus, what it also does is it develops that sense of confidence.
Yes.
That they don't have to rely on somebody else, such as a convincing young fella who can then convince them to engage in some of these behaviors that then could lead to teenage pregnancy.
What I tell them is, you know, once you love yourself and you think you're beautiful and you just accept yourself the way you are, you don't worry about somebody coming whispering them sweet nothings in your ear because you've heard those things from yourself.
Yes.
So wake up every day and say, I'm a beautiful person. And I'm just going to reflect it on the outside today.
All right.
So I love Girl Circle. I, you know, you start off with a young lady telling me that I'm just ugly.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need to be here, to saying, I'm beautiful.
Right.
My smile is beautiful. And I tell them to pick one thing about you that you love. Just one thing. And if that's all you have to concentrate on, then concentrate on them beautiful eyes.
That's right. That's right. That's awesome.
I love my baby.
And it sounds like you love that program, and it's making a big difference. Another program that I really love, and I've heard lots of positive feedback from this, and we have a little guest joining us to help us explain what this program. That's the kind of baby I want. It's quiet, you know, no spit up. No. Well, maybe it does. Tell us about this program.
Okay, this is I call our Real Care Infant Stimulator Program.
Okay.
And this program itself does not prevent pregnancy, but what it does, it opens up parent-child communication.
Okay.
And so once you get this baby and you take it home and you have to actually feed the baby, you have to change the baby pamper, you have to burp the baby, you have to love the baby. You know, a young lady or a young man to get the baby, and it's kind of cute at first. But after having the baby for 24 hours and it's crying and crying, then it's no longer cute. So you're taking it to your mom or your dad, help me, help me. And so that opens up the conversation. This is a computer. It picks up everything that the child does with the baby. If it neglects the baby, we know. If it abused the baby, we know. But if it loves the baby, we know that also.
I would say, now you said that it doesn't prevent teenage pregnancy. I would think to some degree if you had something that was kind of crying all the time and wetting and you had to attend to it and you can just leave it in your car, that it might do something to your psyche to help you say, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to have the real thing.
Yeah.
And it does. What it does is to help increase parent readiness, where you have those 14-year-olds that are saying, yes, I'm ready to be a parent, and then they take the baby home. And they're all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, this is really horrible, because they'll be excited at the beginning. But after having it, and it wakes you up in the middle of the night, and you have to feed it. You got to feed it for almost 20 minutes. And so that's part of them trying to experience, and then you have to get up and you have to go the next day. But what it really does is increase parent readiness. Then it needs to be part of a program that talks about teen pregnancy and prevention. And once it's incorporated into that, then you now have a much more complete program.
And that was going to be my question is, if a parent watching this program today said, oh yeah, this is exactly what my son needs or my daughter needs, are they able to sign out or check out a baby, or does it have to be a part of a formal program such as the Brothers and Sisters of Aiken County or something like that?
They can contact our office directly, and you know, you have to sign a waiver because the babies are expensive. So they can contact us directly, and we will allow them to have the 24-hour experience with their
Okay.
child also.
Okay. May I hold the baby?
You sure
Now, I
can.
haven't held a baby. Our
And-
youngest child is 18. Watch, I make
Now
it
watch
cry.
your head.
on
Watch
live
the head
TV.
fall back. The head
Okay.
will fall back.
Miss Cindy, I hadn't done this in a long time. Okay.
And he's
Alright.
actually 7.5 pounds.
It's a he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's 7.5 pounds.
Yeah.
And he does, like I said, you have to control the head, because if not, you've neglected the baby.
And the
Kinda
baby will
looks like me,
scream.
doesn't it?
Yes.
The kids
Yes.
get very frustrated with, especially the head control, because until they learn that you have to support the head, every time it falls back, the baby just screams, and you have to rock the baby until it stops screaming.
All right, you also have another service that I think is just very insightful, because it couples with our young people being very technologically savvy.
Yes.
But it also allows them to get some questions answered. James, I believe we have that real nice graphic slide. Tell us about this program, Ms. Meehan.
Birds and bees.
Birds and bees. I could not figure what that stood for to save my life. I was trying all kinds of
I'm
things.
sorry.
I like it. Birds and bees.
The Birds and Bees is a teen text line.
Uh-huh.
Basically, we want to make sure that youth have access, especially if they don't have a trusted adult to go to talk with.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there's lots of misinformation. We know that most teens have phones, and the vast majority of them text. As a matter of fact, it's becoming more popular and more common to text than it is to even email and through the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so the text line is essentially, all they have to do is dial the number and opt in by texting SC to, now I have to remember the number because it's so new, it's not even off the top
James,
of my
go
head.
to the next slide. It has the steps for us. There we go. Mm-hmm.
So all they have to do is opt in by dialing 36263, dial it, and the next time, then they've opted in and they can text their question 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Somebody will respond to their question within 24 hours, and that person is a trained health educator. And so we are trying to provide accurate information in a place where youth can ask the questions that they may not be able to ask a trusted adult, but a question that could potentially change a behavior or change how they react to or do something.
That's awesome. Now, this has already started?
It has launched, yes.
Okay, it has launched. Good. Well, any last words? Before you actually do that, give out your contact information again. James, go to the very last slide for us and reiterate the contact information for your organization.
We're located at the United Way building. Our number is 803-441-0016, and our website is www.aikenyouthampowerment.org. And you can call us anytime. We'll get back with you. We can travel to go and do talks to parents or to teens at any time, or we can answer questions for parents.
That's good to know. And I'm very excited, ladies, to have you on the program, because you're definitely making a difference. Many of our young people feel as if they don't have anyone to talk to, so, and some of them don't. Having access to this organization, you probably will never truly know how many lives you've helped to save. And one of the messages that we want to leave, which came from a presentation that you brought, is how critical the influence is of parents.
Yes.
That no matter what type of relationship you have, moms, dads, with your child, statistics show that you are the most influential person in their lives, okay? Hopefully you've enjoyed today's broadcast. Look up Aiken Youth Empowerment. Let's have those conversations with our young people so that we can prevent teen pregnancy in this area, as well as other risks to our young people. My name is Donna Moore Westby. Have a great day.
If you are interested in becoming an individual or corporate sponsor of Education Matters, or to receive sponsorship information, call Donna Moore Wesby at 803-507-6793, or you can send an email to dwesby@edmat.com.
Need positive and constructive after-school activities?